Last Man Standing, starring Bruce Willis and directed by the great Walter Hill. So, a drifting gunfighter for hire finds himself in the middle of an ongoing war between the Irish and Italian mafia in a Prohibition era ghost town. So this is a movie I've always liked this movie. Remember seeing it on TV, a little bit after it came out. Um, I just thought it was really interesting because it's funny. I was just watching an interview with Bruce Willis about this movie. He says it's not a western. He's like, no, it's a gangster movie. Yeah, I'd say it's kind of both, which makes it really unique to me because it takes place in the Prohibition era. And it is the gangsters. I mean, there's the Irish and the Italian mafia, and then he kind of stumbles into the town basically at random and starts working for both of them, plays them both against each other. Um, but it's like a western ghost town in Texas. There's almost no one in the town, except for like a mechanic, the Undertaker, who Bruce Willis gives him a lot of business. Let's say. So I just like that setting because it's very unique. They're all dressed, in nice, gangster outfits. Some of them have Tommy guns. Bruce Willis mainly just uses 245s, 1911s. Awesome gun. Some amazing shootouts. Definitely, this is, I mean, John Woo inspired, I'd say. People get hit, they go flying back, a lot of blood. I like in the first one of the first scenes, this guy like destroys part of his car. He works for the Irish mafia, and then he just walks in there, calls the guy out, and they kind of just have a shootout, and he kills the guy. Um, and then the Irish mob is like pissed off at him, but they're kind of like, well, why don't you come work for us? So if you could do me a favor and smash that like button, that'd be great. Really helps the channel. So this solid movie. Again, Walter Hill. I think he's criminally underrated as a really good director. Unfortunately, this is probably his last good movie, I'd say. I don't. I saw Bullet to the Head years ago. I thought it was okay. I know that movie gets a lot of hate, but it's just. I just thought it was okay. I should rewatch it, but for me, this is like his last movie that I really like. I mean, I'm not. It's not as good as like The Warriors or 48 Hours or something like that. But I think it's really good. I think Bruce Willis is very good in it. He's perfect as this man with no name almost that comes out of nowhere. He, is playing the mob on both sides. He kills a lot of people in this movie because he works for the Italian mob. He kills some of the Irish. He works for the Irish mob. He kills some of the Italians. They kill each other. They're kind of stealing each other's booze because they're getting booze illegally across the Mexican border. Um, I mean, it's got a hell of a cast. I mean, you have Bruce Willis, Bruce Dern, William Sanderson as a barkeep. Um, who's in Deadwood. David Patrick Kelly, Christopher Walken, Ned Eisenberg as the Italian Fredo Strozzi, Michael Imperioli, Sopranos fame as Giorgio Carmonti. Um, yeah, Christopher Walken as Hickey. So you got a great cast. Walken is playing this like intense, heavy for the Irish mafia. He's really good in it. If anything, I wish his character was maybe even a little bit more, but of course, he's great in it. It's got a very unique setting, which I really like. Um, so it's influenced by John Woo. It's actually a semi remake of Yojimbo from Kurosawa. His name's on the on the screenplay. Maybe a criticism of it would be there's some romance scenes with Karina Lombard, Alexandra Powers, and they just kind of go nowhere. I mean, they have a role in the plot, but they do just kind of go nowhere. So, yeah, kind of a criticism, but the ending's a little anticlimactic, I say, because there's these huge shootouts in between. I mean, so many people get killed in this. Very intense, but the end scene is just him and his friend William Sanderson, who's basically been one of the only guys in the town that he kind of likes and kind of trusts. And William Sanderson and him are in this old kind of destroyed house in the middle of nowhere, and then the what's left of the Irish mob comes to get him, and then Sanderson shoots one of them, and then Bruce Willis shoots one of them, and then it's Hickey, Christopher Walken, and Bruce Willis is actually willing to let him go, and I think he said, well, he's like I'll just go back to Chicago, and Bruce Willis is like, yeah, maybe we'll meet up there sometime, and then he kind of tries to trick him, and then Bruce Willis shoots him. So pretty cool though to see Christopher Walken with a Tommy gun. So yeah, that's a gun I've always wanted to shoot. That seems really cool. Um, but yeah, so it's a little anticlimactic at the end, but I still think it's a very solid movie. I mean, unfortunately, it flopped. Its budget was 67 million. It made 47.3 million. That's what Wikipedia says. So distributed by New Line Cinema. Yeah, based upon Yojimbo by Kurosawa. I've never seen that movie, so I don't know. It got bad reviews. I mean, really bad reviews. Roger Ebert gave it 1 out of 4 stars. I just think that's ridiculous. Like he's criticizing like that. Okay, they're doing this running of alcohol, but there's like no one in the town to sell to. But I always got the feeling they sell. There is some people in the town. I mean, they sell it to them, and then they probably ship it up north and make tons of money. So I mean, the movie doesn't quite explain all that. I think it's fine. I mean, it's Prohibition era. These people are smuggling in alcohol and they're making tons of money on it. People smuggled it in from Mexico, they smuggled it in from Canada, and they made tons of money. So I don't see the problem. But yeah, in his review, he criticizes that. He says it's desperately a cheerless film, so dry and laconic and wrung out that you wonder if the filmmakers ever thought that in any way it could be fun. See, I think it is fun because I think the action scenes are awesome. The cast is amazing. I think Walter Hill is still on point on direction. It's got a really nice look from the cinematographer that it combines the Old West with gangster movies, which is really unique and different. Especially look at it now. I mean, there's like what other movies like this? I really can't. I mean, there may be 1 or 2. I can't really name any though. Which is what always caught my eye about the movie, and especially looking back now, you know, many years later, it's like, I don't know, maybe if he rewatched it now, which he did sometimes, he would give it, you know, another star or star and a half, but yeah, he really didn't like it. It contains elements that are often found in entertainment, like things like guns, gangs, and spectacular displays of death. But here they crouch on the screen and growl at the audience. Even the movie's hero is bad company. Well, yeah, I mean he's a murderer, you know. They all are. The movie stars Bruce Willis as a man who says his name is John Smith, who arrives in Texas town of Jericho during Prohibition. It's a strange town. The building suggests a western from the 1880s. The cars suggest the late 1920s. And there are two local bootlegging gangs that have arrived at Uneasy Truth, and that's it. Near as I could tell, there are no other gang residents of Jericho except for the Undertaker, the sheriff, and the bartender. Oh well, that's not true. There's a mechanic that works on Bruce Willis's car, but I'm nitpicking. I mean, it is true. There's not that many people, but it's right on the border, and they're getting alcohol from Mexico, so it's a key location. I don't know, it makes enough sense to me. I mean, I won't say business has been good lately, but the bartender tells John Smith, who walks in for a drink, no kidding. Whom do the bootleggers sell their booze to? Is Jericho simply a distribution point? Then why are there two virtual armies of gangsters, one imported from Chicago, wearing fedoras, business suits, and hanging around ominously? I'm missing the point, I know. Last Man Standing is not intended as a realistic portrait of any, yeah, exactly, of anything. The credits announce it is based on, yeah, Kurosawa, and some filmgoers will recognize the plot outlines from Yojimbo. Well, Kurosawa has inspired other good American movies. Seven Samurai remake was made as The Magnificent Seven, and Yojimbo also loosely inspired A Fistful of Dollars. Yeah, but here the attempt to move the story from Japan to Texas seems pointless because the movie made from it isn't Kurosawa or Western or gangster movie or anything else other than a mannered, juiceless, excruciatingly predative exercise in style. And see, I don't agree. I mean, it doesn't have to be fit into one of those boxes. I think that's why the movie's so interesting, is because it is a Western and a gangster movie. So, and yeah, there's no horses, but there's early, you know, 1910, 1920s cars, which I like. I don't know, I find the whole movie very refreshing and different. Which unfortunately maybe is why it flopped, because people didn't really know what this was. I don't know how they advertised it. Maybe they should. I don't know if they played up that this is the Walter Hill guy who made 48 Hours. I mean, he's also a producer on Alien. I mean, this is a very talented man. So the director and screenwriter is Walter Hill, and he's in good form. He makes films such as 48 Hours and The Neglected Geronimo. Okay, yeah, I kind of want to check that out now, because he says he gives that, like, I think 3 or 4 out of 4 stars. So he really liked that. Now he did make Wild Bill, which I've watched some of, and I didn't really like that movie. So, you know, Walter Hill's not perfect, and after this, Walter Hill made a bunch, like, some movies that I don't think look that good, but I think after this movie he kind of semi-retired. What he almost always shows are violent men living in a society that doesn't give them much opportunity to do anything other than kill one another. Even the look of the film is arid. Hill and his cinematographer Lloyd Ahern have sought to drain the color and life from the images. Many of the scenes look exactly like the unfortunate early 1960s films where the color has faded, leaving only reds, browns, and shadows. Dust covers everything, nothing is beautiful. All seems tired, worn, exhausted. The victory at the end is downbeat, and there is an indifference to it. This is such a sad, lonely movie. Well, I think it's I think the cinematography is great. But I will agree about the ending. It's just kind of downbeat, and just you're expecting a little bit more. But I guess by the end, almost everyone's dead because they either the Irish and the Italians have killed each other, or he's killed both of them. So, but yeah, let's just say he's not a fan of the movie, and yeah, unfortunately, it flopped. But um, Walter Hill later said that he and Bruce Willis were not close when we did the film, but I liked working with him. It was impersonal, classic. I know what you mean. You want me to be Bogart, Mitchum kind of guy, and I said exactly, let it happen. He then took that and gave what I thought was a very good performance. I always sensed there was a little kind of core resentment that Bruce felt. He should be more appreciated for his talents. At the same time, I think there's a limitation that he does certain things better than others, and he hasn't always chosen so wisely. The movie is like a fistful of dollars. It's a retelling of Yojimbo, which is itself based on Dashiell Hammett's 1927 novel Red Harvest. James Remar was the original choice for the Christopher Walken role. Well, yeah, I could see that. Hill likes working with James Remar. Warriors. He's in another 48 hours, right? Um, I think it's a cool role for Walken. One you don't see that much, so I mean, he's playing, yeah, like a heavy henchman basically with a Tommy gun. New Line Cinema wanted to remake Yojimbo as a science fiction film in the vein of Mad Max and Escape from New York, but Walter Hill insisted on setting it in Depression era Texas. Seeing the landscape is more fitting of his experience directing westerns. I think the music's pretty good too. The score, I mean, it's kind of basic, but I think it does the job and it sets the tone really well. Titles considered during post production were Gundown and Jericho. Oh yeah, Bruce Willis and Christopher Walken previously appeared in Pulp Fiction, but were they in a scene together? I don't think so. I mean, they has him as a small child, and Christopher Walken's talking to him. But yeah. Anyways, check out Last Man Standing if you haven't seen it, especially now with Bruce Willis and his health problems and everything. And if you're a Walter Hill fan too, I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's not that long of a movie, so um, but yeah, check it out. Last Man Standing, 1996, Walter Hill. That's about it, and I'll see you next time.